Hey guys, what's up? Croissant here. This is episode 2 of the Battle of the Titans between Tycho2, and Gamaray. Continuing where we left off from the previous episode, Tycho2 is now leading 6-4 against Gamma in their set. Can Gamma turn this lead around going forward? Let's find out. And here we go, into the 11th game. I would go for the 14, 4, and 5 to start off with. Take the 14 first and the 4, and then send a small fleet over to the 5 of whatever is left in your home planet. After that, go right into the attack. Do not take the 15 under any circumstance. If you take the 15, then your opponent just takes the 23 and tunnels into your 5. Let's see what happens. Yeah, both players go for those 2 planets. Tycho goes for the 5. Both players go for the 5. They're floating. Gamma attacks Tycho's side planet. Tycho defends it late. Meanwhile, Gamma manages to defend that in time. Tycho doubles back. And only now does he recapture his side planet. Gamma should be ahead by a couple of ships at this point. Tycho misclicks on his side 34, and that is game right there. He has just lost too many ships. He was down by a cap for about 10 seconds, and that was just too much to come back for. 6-5 is now the score, going into the game 12. Take the 5, 16, and 7 here. The 14 doesn't really seem to give much benefit, nor does the 15. If you try taking one of those, I can see your opponent going into either the 46 or 35 to try to outproduce you. And since you are now 14 or 15 ships behind, you will have a much harder time matching that if the opponent goes for a rush immediately. So Gamma has gotten the advantage here. He's captured his 5 first and is now in position to continue expanding. Yeah, neither player goes for the 14 or 15. That's a smart move. Gamma lands first. Now rewind the game for a second. So both players send out their ships towards the opponents. Now, remember when I said last episode about the center of mass of each fleet? You see that right now, Gamma's center of mass for his fleet is right over Tycho's front planet. I don't care if Tycho thinks that Gamma is going to eventually land on his home. He needs to defend that front planet right now. Gamma may or may not land there, but that planet needs to be defended. There is no reason why you should not take the risk of leaving that planet so vulnerable to an attack. Meanwhile, look at Tycho's fleet. It is slightly off-centered, meaning it's going to have a harder time to converge on that front planet should he decide to capture it. But also, Tycho is not interested in even going for that. He doesn't see Gamma moving. He doesn't know that Gamma's front planet is not defended as much as it should be right now. And so when Gamma lands, Tycho is caught off guard. Meanwhile, Gamma's home is defended slowly at a time, which is on par with how you should defend this position. So only now does Tycho manage to get back the caps from earlier, and Gamma tries to get ahead by taking the 14. Tycho matches. Both players take... Oh, only Gamma takes the 15. Interesting. Tycho opts to rush it. Gamma is attacking after taking the 15. I have no idea why he did that. He should have committed all those ships on defense. I get it that he wanted to pressure Tycho and delay his attack, but 15 ships is still 15 ships. Like, Tycho was not going to be distracted by whatever Gamma is going to do there. He should have just committed to defending and hopefully resist any floating attempts by Tycho. Sorry about that. Let me just rewind again. I can go over the expansion for this next game, for this next match. Score is now 7-5. Tycho has maintained his lead. Going into game 13. So take those two planets in the middle there, followed by... Oh, this is very tricky. If you're Tycho right now, do not take the 18 that is above the two planets that you're taking right now. Gamma is going to have a much easier time attacking that 18 than you are defending that 18. There is pretty much no obstruction in that line of sight between Gamma's 3 and that 18. Meanwhile, you have to deal with the 26 being in your way for your ships to get to your 18. I would say skip the 18s altogether. Maybe just take the 3 and go for the attack. There's really no good way to defend either 18 in this situation. If you take Gamma's 18, just straight up take it, then you're spreading yourself too thin and could very, very easily get punished for it. Gamma could just very easily send ships toward your home cluster and then redirect them last second towards the 18 that you just took. It would be very, very hard for you to defend that. So, yeah, Tycho does take the 18. You see here how this is going to fail. Gamma is pretending to attack Tycho's home, but you see that the center of mass of his fleet is still clustered around that 18. It means that Gamma wants to attack that 18. Now, alternatively, you see that the center of mass is also close to that first of 3 planets of Tycho's home cluster. Gamma might go back and forth between those 2 planets. The other 2 planets, the middle planet and the home planet, are probably not going to be likely targets for this fleet. Yep, Gamma goes for the 18 and captures it very, very easily. This is why you need to pay attention to obstructions in your tunneling path. Because Gamma just took that 18 very, very easily with only one simple redirect. Going into game 14 here. Okay. This is interesting. Taking the 37 poses some risk here. On one hand, you could skip the 37 altogether and just go with a 5, 10, and 0. And the 21. However, from there, you don't really have a good attacking angle if the opponent does not take the center 21. You would have to go for their middle 0, which is going to take quite some time for your ships to travel that far across the map. Therefore, it might be worth it to take the 37-5 and then the 0 directly and skip the 10. Just flat out skip the 10. Actually, I think that the 10 is bad regardless. Yeah, don't take the 10. Don't take the 10 at all. You might want to just go for the 5 and 0 or the 37, 5 and 0, depending on how expansion happy these players are. It would be hard to punish the 37 if your opponent doesn't realize that you took it fast enough and doesn't get to mid fast enough. So let's see if either player takes the 37. Yeah, both players take the 37. They take everything. Wow. You really see that both players are very expansion happy. They don't go for the classic strat of baiting the opponent to taking 60 ships worth of planets and then getting rushed immediately. They just take everything that's in their sight. But Tycho manages to claim the victory on this one. It was just a classic middle fight. Tycho manages to get on top of Gamma here and win this match. The score is now 8-6. Tycho has maintained a 2-game lead throughout these matches. Can this trend be sustained going forward? Let's find out. Going into game 15. The 27-25 seem like obvious choices here, followed by the 22 and 10. You could skip the 22 and go right into a surprise rush by taking your 10 if the opponent takes their 10. So you would take 25, 27, and 10 once you see that your opponent has taken all 4 of those planets instead. That would instantly grant you the win. However, taking the 22 does pose some benefit and can be easily defended if your opponent doesn't go for a rush immediately, or it's just not fast enough to mid. If you take the 22 and your opponent doesn't take the 22 but takes the middle 10, then you can just straight up defend and use your middle 10 as a buffer. Against their attacks. And unless your opponent then takes your 10, which would be very, very hard to defend and maintain the supply line with, then in that case, I can see the 22 being a very, very good planet to take. So yeah, definitely take the 27 and the 20. Maybe just skip the 25 then, if that's the case. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what each player does. They don't go for anything. That's very surprising. Gamma manages to cap first on Tycho's home. Tycho is left flying there. He doesn't know what to do. The game is over. He can't get back those caps. The only thing Tycho can do now is just hope that Gamma misclicks something, or he just surrenders. Because Gamma right now is up a couple ships. Yeah, and Tycho surrenders. There's nothing he can do there. I would have thought that either player would have gone for the 25 or 27, but they both decided to go for the rush, the instant rush. And Gamma manages to come out on top of that one. Going into the next game. Take the small 19 and 5, as well as the large 19 and 7. The 23 does not provide enough value as a tunneling planet to the 19, as the 23 does get outprodded by either one of the middle 19s. So if you take the 23, you might get to your 19 and 7 faster, but your opponent could very easily just take their 19 and go straight into the middle 19 and 5 while simultaneously outprodding you. So I'm thinking you expand 3 ways, or try to attempt some middle rush by only expanding 2 ways. If you were to attempt the middle rush, taking the giant 19 as well as the middle 19 might be the way to go. Again, there's just multiple ways you can play this. Let's see what either player goes for. They take everything, including the 23. I guess they both value the 23 as... They both valued the 23 to be very, very high, with simply just getting to that middle, their 19 first. But I don't think that was really necessary. You can delay... Hold on, let me pause the game. I don't think taking that 23 was absolutely necessary. You could have just went for the middle 19 instead and waited an extra 2 or 3 seconds to take your 19 after your opponent. You see how the two players are very, very far apart from each other? Taking your big 19 3 seconds late is not going to cost you anything if it means getting you the middle 19. So honestly, I think taking the 23 was a blunder for both players. Well, not really a blunder, more like a mistake. If you're going by chess notation, if you're going by chess terminology. But in any case, Both players have matched expansion, and they're now floating over their opponent's cluster. Tycho goes for the 24. I personally don't get why Tycho did that. It doesn't really provide much support at all to the stability of his cluster, nor is it the best plan to take. Even the 22 outprods it. So Gamma could very easily gain the advantage here. Both players are still floating. Tycho takes the other 22. He has now expended 46 ships, I believe. So now Tycho has taken 3 planets to Gamma's 1. Gamma has taken the middle 19, while Tycho has taken the side 22, 24, and the extra 22. So while Tycho is still up in prod, if Gamma manages to take that second middle 19, he will have turned the tables around. So let's see if this one attacking float can do the trick in securing Gamma the advantage needed to take that 19. Tycho is still floating. Gamma decides to just take only one of the planets that Tycho took, and this establishes a production lead, as the 24 and 22 probably don't outproduce the 19, or at least that's what Gamma is hoping right now. Gamma still has a strong float going over Tycho's cluster, so at this point, if Tycho is behind in production, which he very well may be, then it's going to be very, very hard for him to gain any sort of advantage right now. He has lost all mid-control. Gamma sends another fleet, takes Tycho's big planet, gets a cap off of it. Tycho tries to gain a further prod advantage, regain the prod advantage by taking that 21 there, but in doing so, leaves his home undefended, and so Gamma takes those 2 planets, and it's just over. Gamma's just going to keep sending, box select and push. He's going to take the 21 to match Tycho, and there's no way. It's over. Tycho just took the wrong planet to start off with. He should not have taken that 24 whatsoever. With that, Gamma has tied the setup 8-8. Good job by him. And now we progress to game 17. For this one, that 7 is looking real juicy right now. Real juicy. If you were to take the 7, you have 2 possible ways of taking the 7. You can either, say you were Gamma right now. You could try to tunnel. You want to go for, honestly, either 7 looks decent. There's not really a better 7 in this scenario, because not only can you tunnel through the 6 and 18 to get to the bottom 7, but you can also tunnel through the 15 to get to the top 7. However, if you tunnel through the bottom, if you tunnel to get to the bottom 7, and Tycho also tunnels to get to the bottom 7, then you will lose that 7. So honestly, I think taking the top 7 is better here. However, this is not immediately obvious, as that going for the bottom 7, if you're Gamma, is just a straight line. That line is so easy to tunnel. There's literally no difficulty in reinforcing that. Whereas going for the opposite side 7 does require a bit more time, and is slightly harder to execute those to travel those ships over to the 7. Honestly, if you're Gamma, go for the top 7. If you're Tycho, go for the bottom 7. That 15 is shortening the distance to tunnel your ships from your home to the 7 more than the 18 and 6 is to get to the top 7. So definitely go tunnel through the 15 and go for the 7. Maybe take the 6 along the way. Both players go for the opposite side 7. Now he's taken an extra 17 and 7 here. He is down 24 ships and is now fully committed to this defense. I swear, if Gamma sends another attack, I'm going to lose it. No, he does not send another attack. Good for him. But 24 ships is just too much. He over-defends in the top 7 and loses his home cluster in the process. Tycho is just too on point with that. He was ready for the attack, and Gamma was not ready for the defense there. Well, Gamma was ready for the defense, but that defense was just not possible. All right, here, go for the 19, go for the 1, go for the 15, and go for the 18. Really simple, not much to think about. They delayed the expansion on the 18, fair enough. Both players are floating. Only now does Gamma go for the 18. Tycho sees it immediately, goes for his own 18. In the process, he managed to get 2 floats off before committing to his own 18. Gamma sends a fleet through the middle that slows it down. Maybe he's trying to get a ghost out of it? Could be. Tycho lands his fleet on Gamma's middle cluster. Gamma manages to take, but in the process, Tycho grabs the 28, using that to his advantage. Has a prod lead now to Gamma's 31. So Tycho essentially traded the 28 for the 31 and is now ahead in production and ahead in ships. I see him possibly winning the game right now. Gamma has pretty much zero float right now and loses his home. The game is over. Good win to Tycho2. The score is now 10-8. Tycho has regained his 2-game lead. Honestly, taking the middle did keep Tycho at a prod advantage. I get what he's saying though. He should have just kept building caps off of Gamma, but this way didn't really give him any. Wasn't a blunder. It wasn't really a mistake. It just delayed the inevitable. All right, going into game 19. Take the 6, 27, 20, and both 2s. Go for the 10 and 0. Or actually, in this case, hold on. Go 6, 27, 19, 0, and 10. As well as the 20s, and the 2s. Or you're at risk of getting rushed here if you take too much. So I'm trying to think, what is the optimal play? What are the optimal plans to take in this situation? Do you take the 20 to start off with? Honestly, the 20 is a liability. Going back to what I said earlier about taking your side planet late and getting away with it, yeah, I think you honestly just go for the 6, 27, 19, and 0. And go for the side 2 late. Completely just disregard the 20. It provides no value to you. If you take the 20, then you are very much susceptible to a surprise rush by Gamma if you're Tycho. Gamma could very easily just take the 27, both 2s, and go for the attack. There's really nothing stopping him. He can punish your 20 instantly. But if you skip the 20 and just go for the 6, 27, 19, and 0, then the 19 is a much easier planet to defend than the 20. Yeah, the 20 is a massive liability here. Both players take it. I see it as an unnecessary risk, but I mean, these players only have about a second or so to accurately read the map. So I don't hold it against them for taking that 20. They should both take the 10 and 0 right now, though, instead of attacking. Gamma is floating. Tycho takes his 0 first. Gamma follows. Gamma loses a cap there, and so Tycho is going to use the opportunity to take the 47. Okay. Now Gamma is sending a massive attack here. He lands the fleet there. Now Tycho should really have defended that front cluster there. Gamma was floating all over it. Meanwhile, Tycho has left all his ships in that back home cluster of his. So now Gamma lands. He lands on both front planets. Tycho loses that front cluster. He loses the side planet. He loses that 0, and the game is over. Tycho was very slow on that defense there. After taking that 47, he should have immediately defended that front planet, those front planets. All right, game 20. Take the 20 and the 12. After that, there's pretty much nothing else you can take. The 31 is very, very, very risky. Possibly an insta-loss. Yeah, just take the 20 and the 12. Both players do exactly that. Gamma sees the 31. He wants to take it, but he's going to wait until this float is finished. Both players get caps off of their homes. This is essentially a swap. Both players send a lot of ships and don't commit enough to the defense. I'm not sure which player captured first, but it seems that as though Gamma has slightly more ships. It's close. It's still very, very close. What is that? What is this 27 that Gamma has taken? That 27 is the worst possible option that Gamma could have chosen. The middle 31 would have been better than that. Gamma tries to compensate by going for the 31, but you see here that Tycho matches with the middle 31. And so now you see that Gamma has essentially traded the middle 31 for the side 27. He is still behind, and all Tycho needs now is to defend. Gamma loses that side planet there. Tycho is defending. He doesn't really need to do anything else. He can just sit back and relax. Doesn't really need to attack there, but he manages to trade a cap first, so it's all good. He keeps his main cluster well defended. That front planet can be dropped repeatedly as long as the main cluster is defended and Gamma doesn't have adequate reinforcements to keep pushing. And yep, Gamma's down in production. He's down in ships. He was outprodded, and the game is over. The score is now 11-9 as we conclude episode 2 of this series. Signing off, and see you next time for episode 3.